Hello, this is Melissa Ryan.
Kevin Holman.
And we're joining you here from the Golden Wellbeing Collective. We're actually in Dr. Kevin Holman's office. Both of us are office mates, and we've been sharing this office space since May.
Yep, since May. It's been good. We got chiropractic office over here, counseling, restrooms, bathroom if you need it, and some water. It's a pretty nice area.
Too.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, so we wanted to come together because Kevin and I actually thought that me moving into this space would be a good fit because there would be a lot of parallel, a lot of crossover where we could cross-refer and really support the care we're providing our clients with just that wraparound care. So today we really want to talk about how that process comes together. How does relationship health intersect with overall health and wellness?
And we've seen it become like we've actually when we got together we said this actually might be a good idea because they are so related. And then what happened is we started seeing it more and more and more. And so the fact that we're just seeing it as much as we have to talk about it because that means like people don't know. And if people don't know, they can't change it.
Exactly, and they can't see how these two intersect and that can contribute to overall happiness and well-being and things that Kevin and I are both very passionate about. So, as I said, I came into this office space and I myself have seen the benefits of working with Dr. Holman. And so, I had never experienced chiropractic care and I just had a really tight lower back. And so I talked with you a few times, I think, before I got adjusted.
Because you're kind of feeling it out.
I was definitely feeling it out. And I was seeing what you actually really knew about the process. And I was like, does he really know what he's talking about? And we talked some more about it. And you really helped me feel comfortable with the process, which was so beneficial.
Totally. A lot of people, when they experience chiropractic, they walk in, they get adjusted, they leave, they have no idea what just happened or why they did what they did, whether it was a lot or a little. So with you, it was like a, 6-week consultation?
Yes.
It was like just a couple times you talked, and then you just gained some confidence around it. And I was like, yes, get on the table, easy, super light, super gentle, and you had really good success with it, right?
Yes, and we got to just ease into the process, which we've talked about, just making those minor shifts and then over time being able to deepen that process.
Yes, over time, super important.
So we really want to engage our audience, so I want to invite you guys to respond to my question today, which is how many of you have benefited from chiropractic care? So I invite you to answer that question. If you feel comfortable, please just provide specific feedback of what that looked like, and even relate it, if you can, to how it benefits relationships. Mm-hmm. So like I shared, I had tremendous benefit. I noticed right away I store a lot of energy and experiences in my lower back, and I saw a shift there and just my overall mood.
Yeah, we see that a lot of time. Overall mood in the office right after the adjustment and or at home in the way they tolerate environmental stresses. And we can talk about this in a little bit, but I've seen a lot. The biggest story, the biggest, most obvious change in health at home, within the relationships at home, was a colleague of mine adjusted a dad of like I think she's 6 or 7 years old. She came to the adjustment. It was about the 4th adjustment of his, and she comes up to him and she says, "When do I get my adjustment?" And the dad was like, "Oh, that's, you're too young to get adjusted." And the doc was like, "Well, why do you think you need to be adjusted?" And she said, "Oh, I don't know." And he pushed her. He's like, "Well, why do you think you need to be adjusted and not just your dad?" She goes, "Well, ever since dad started getting adjusted, he stops hitting mom."
Wow.
She was 6.
Huge, impact. So she saw real stuff that's overall impacting not only the relationship between mom and dad, but the health of the family.
Right. Health of the family, health of childhood development mentally as they engage in their relationships. So the health and well-being of a person can outreach further than we actually think.
Which is also, like I found such tremendous benefit in coming to see Kevin that I invited my partner to also come and see him. And so then we're both benefiting, which overall just contributes to our individual health. And like you're saying, that relational health, the environment of our family.
Do you notice a big change?
Yes, overall we're in I think awesome. Both of us have a pretty optimistic demeanor, and I think it's just helped enhance that. And with my partner in particular, I just have seen him just come more alive, I guess. So more vibrant.
Yeah. It's easy when both, when the couples are in it together, when they're getting, one person is getting the care that they need, then the other person isn't. It's kind of a disconnect. It's not as congruent. If you're building as a team and changing as a team, it's a lot easier, especially when it comes to health and well-being.
So does that come up where you see like one partner and then maybe the other partner doesn't know what's going on?
It does.
How do you address that?
Well, I was going to ask you about that too, but right away, when they come in, people are usually jazzed. They're like, oh, I can actually fix this. This is going to be great. All this, I can function better. I can feel better, blah, 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 blah. And then they get home and they don't know how to describe what they just went through. They don't know how to describe what the benefits are. They don't know how to describe, how much time it's going to take, the financial stuff. There's a lot to it. So I was going to ask you, what would you recommend for a couple that was in that situation?
So if one partner was really just jazzed about it and the other partner's like, I don't know what this means. You're going through these changes. As humans, we don't do great with change. We're really about homeostasis and things remaining the same. So it can feel kind of awkward or anxiety producing. So often when somebody comes in and says, hey, I want to make this big change and I want my partner to be able to get on board with it, I talk with them about inviting the partner to give feedback. Because if you get the partner to give feedback and you say, hey, to my spouse, hey, I want to know what are ways that you think I can get better at my health, or what do you think are some issues that are coming up that actually bring worry, or that you're concerned about that you think I should address in terms of my health. If you invite and elicit that that feedback, you're getting that partner to buy in. Now they're part of the process. They're not somewhere outside the looking in at this process. Now they're a part of it. Now they're a team.
Yes. Teamwork makes a dream work.
Exactly. Not cheesy at all.
It's so true, though.
It's so true.
It is. Unfortunately, we see it far too often, so I'm glad. That gives me a lot.
So what do you do when you've seen that? I think you shared something about bringing the partner in sometimes.
I invite them. I say,
okay,
if anyone has questions about this, have them call me. And that's the easiest thing to do, especially if it's a kid who, who their parents are actually paying for the care, like 18, 19 years old. Who had money at that time?
Yes.
No one, right?
Exactly.
But if it's in a relationship, if they're married, I say just invite them to come in and we'll just go through it all. It's easy. Because they usually have the exact same questions that the other person had. It's just how do you explain that is huge.
And so that brings me to another topic that just popped in my head is when we first started talking, I have, my own specific questions, and I'm sure each patient has their own specific questions. So how do you deliver the message, but in a unique way to each patient? Like, what do you use, or how do you formulate how you're going to present the material?
A lot of things that come to mind, but the message of chiropractic is actually super simple and basic. But I like analogies. I like telling people that I've seen them 100 times, because usually I have. But it's like this. So I had a guy come in. He was like 40, 45 years old.
Okay.
And he just lost his wife. And I started adjusting him for about a month. And he comes in with a massive smile on his face.
Wow.
Like a huge smile on his face. This guy was pretty down, pretty mellow. His tone was low. So he came in after a month and he said, I got to tell you something. I said, what's with the smile? You never smile. And he said, I had a dream last night for the first time. He said, I had a dream last night. And I said,
wow,
big
okay.
deal. I had a dream last night too. Cop on the table. No big deal. No, he says, Doc, you don't understand. I had a dream last night for the first time in 20 years. I said,
whoa.
Holy cow, that's awesome. Neurologically, it actually makes sense if we open up and get down just get down to the details of increasing the brains and body communication. So what happened is, he said, the first time in 20 years, and I said, that's pretty cool. So we high-fived, right?
Yeah, you like to do.
I always high-five. I do. I high-five way too much. But
I don't think it's too much.
Okay.
It's just
right.
enough.
It's just the right amount, right?
Yeah, it's just
People
enough.
are like, I don't remember last time I did that. I like it.
And
anyway.
it just changes their demeanor.
It
but
does.
yes.
So we high-fived, and it changed his demeanor. Right? No. He said, I had a dream for the first time last night in 20 years. And last night during that dream, I dreamt about my wife's face. And it was the first time I've seen her face since she died of breast cancer a year and a half ago.
Oh my gosh.
So it's not a cookie cutter thing. The nervous system controls and regulates every function of the human body. And so if you have one thing going on or another thing going on, like neck pain, low back pain, or headaches and migraines, or mood, depression disorders, I'm not going to tell you how those things are going to become healthier. I'm just going to say, if we open up the communication pathways from your brain to your body and back, we see amazing things happen. And like that guy, I couldn't have predicted it, but if we can help someone like him, I know I can help someone with, like, a numbness, tingling going down their leg, or headaches or migraines. So that's kind of how I describe it. People don't really understand how all-encompassing the brain's control actually is. And if it's being interfered with, we can see all types of symptoms. That's how I would answer that.
That's awesome. I love that. And so, look, you're also, one of the things I really appreciate is you spend time really just getting to know your patients, because you've told me that within your field sometimes there's really quick turnover, and you really sit and converse with people. You know what's going on. You know stuff about their kids. You know stuff about their life beyond, they have lower back pain. Right.
You got to know the kids' names, of course. But what we see is, if the more personal you get within the relationship, and it just means the more you can help them, because they have questions all the time. And in fact, a lot of people, well, not too many, but like we've already talked about, a lot of people so far have come to me with questions that I can't answer about relationships. But I know that if we increase their health and well-being, they're going to have better communication strategies, just because they feel better and can control their emotions better and tolerate environmental stresses better. And that's why I just say, if they have a question that I can't answer, I say, here's Melissa, go to her, So,
which has happened, like we're saying, that back and forth, because you bring up a really good point. So I have a lot of times I see couples at varying stages, but one of the big stages I see in a couple's relationship is when they have young kids. Young kids, both partners are working.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a lot. It's really draining. And so one of the metaphors I came up with, because I work so much with kids and teens, is if you think about a video game, there's a life bar. And over the course of the game, your life bar goes down. And just like in life, throughout the day, there may be things, whether they're things that bring value or not, just even joyous occasions can bring down our life bar, in terms of like getting married can bring down your emotional, mental energy because of all that it takes, especially if you're not replenishing. So I talk with my couples about thinking about that life bar going down. And if you're operating in the flashing red zone, if you guys have ever played a game where it says that means you're about to die, and that's how you're interacting with your partner, it's not going to be productive. It's going to be pretty negative experience. Yeah. So addressing their nervous system, really helping increase their life bar, now we can address some stuff going on in their relationship.
Totally. Exactly. So a life bar is perfect. 3 things that go into that life bar are the 3 stresses of life: trauma, toxins, and thoughts. It's the 3 T's. It's in chiropractic philosophy. It's awesome. But other people, if you want to remember it as 3 T's, that's the way to do it. But it's physical, mental, and chemical. The 3 stresses of life. And how you regulate and operate is basically, how you operate is basically how you are tolerating those stresses. Whether it's physical is easy, whether it's posture, whether it's sitting in a car terribly, or at a computer all day, or maybe you got in a car accident. Those are physical. And then mental is obvious, right? All the mental stresses we have. Can your brain affect your body?
Yeah, most definitely. And vice versa.
Yes, can your body affect your brain? And so those are awesome reflexes we can talk about. And then the other one is chemical, which people miss all the time. Chemical, like the air we breathe, the water we drink. How clean is all that? Probably not that clean, but also what are we eating, right? McDonald's versus a salad or whatever. And so all these things basically feed into your life bar. So that's why it's so interrelatable what we do, is because mental health can affect the body, and then the body can affect the mind as well. And that affects, like we just talked about, everyone around you.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Love that analogy. That's
yeah. Cool. It's a good one to think about, because then my clients are like, oh yeah, so then we talk about what are things that you notice increase your life bar?
Totally.
What can you do before you get home? Because a lot of times my clients, by the time they're getting home, it's flashing red.
Right.
So what you just talked about, what are practices during the day? And that's one of the things I also really love about your approach to care is it's not just the one adjustment. It's also the exercises you send home.
Yep. And it's not it didn't happen overnight to get you to that decreasing life bar. Hopefully everyone's following this analogy of video game life bars here. It's awesome. So basically, if that bar is going down, I mean, you can feel better or act better easily. Take a pill, right? Take an NSAID or take a pill that'll mess with your brain chemistry. Some people need it because they're so depleted. But if you actually want to get better and have better quality of life over time, then it does take time and it takes these steps. Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and continuing the work. Like you've talked with me, which I've done so with.
Okay.
I'm doing all right. Is the adjustments plus doing the activities at home that will really help with strengthening, that will help kind of move that tension so it doesn't get stuck. Like you talk about your metaphor of the hose.
Yep, kinked hose. Easy, right? If you have a water hose that's going to a garden or grass, what color do you want the grass, green or brown, right? So you want green grass, right? And what you can do is put a bunch of fertilizer on the grass or have the best sunshine on the grass. But if you don't take your foot off the water hose, the grass is going to die or it's not going to be as good as possible. So if we adjust you or if we talk with you or she talks with you in sessions, how much better are you going to get outside of the office or clinic if you don't take these steps that we recommend? And so that's why I do that. So I don't have to see you as much because I get sick of myself. So people get sick of me. So I want to see people and I want to get them better. But if they're not doing what they can outside of the office, we don't get them as best as possible.
Well, and it goes back to you want to help as many people as you can. So if you want to extend your impact, you and I both, I think, share this passion for really having an impact. We do this work because we want to have a positive impact on the world.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
We want to help as many people as we can. So if people are doing, this is why I send them home with TED Talks and articles and chapters and books so that they can really get the most out of the work that they're doing so they don't have to come in as much, that they can see that change quicker, they get relief quicker, and they're building the habits and practices that will be sustainable.
Exactly. And so they can take care of themselves at a higher level forever, right?
Exactly.
Right. How long should you be doing this stretch? It's a trick question. You should literally do this stretch forever, right? But it's just time. Time is a major factor, and that's a massive variable that has to be addressed within any type of healthcare. Totally.
This is a great way to wrap us up. I think we've hit a good amount of time. I feel like we've provided some really great value for our audience. Hopefully, I know I've learned just more even from talking with you, just like always.
Me too.
This is why we'll keep hanging out.
This is good.
So we really appreciate you guys joining us.
Totally.
Please comment about your experiences, like I said, with chiropractic care, how it's positively contributed to your life. You can even share stories of loved ones that you've seen benefit from it, because we'd love to hear that. It really makes our day.
It does.
It's fun.
All right.
So we've enjoyed being here with you. Take care.